There are a surprising amount of card games published by YouTube comedy animators. I've been hoping for a comedy animator YouTuber to finally make a card game that stands on its own, one that has more meat to it than those before. Which brings us to Fool's Blade, the latest YouTuber card game looking to earn a place on your shelf, if it can fit. I'm just gonna say it right now, I enjoyed this game. It's exactly the kind of game I've been looking for. But it has some flaws which we will get to, but for now, a quick overview of how to play. Each player starts with a unique class and a bunch of cards. Your goal is to be the richest of them all by slaying monsters with your mix-matched sword. Your turn starts at the tavern, where everyone is invited. The tavern cards you draw can be used to help or hinder. Before embarking on your journey, you may assemble your sword and gear. But oh, what is this? Your path splits 3. Choose between visiting the forge, going questing, or going monster hunting. At the forge, you choose between 3 weapon parts to enhance your blade to next assembly phase. Going questing, you may find action cards, gear cards, or if you're unlucky, curse cards. And when you're ready, go monster hunting where you choose from 3 difficulties of monsters. Monsters have a strength type and sometimes strength modifiers, which you will have to beat in order to add the monster to your stash and gain its reward. But watch out, some lose conditions are deadly. And you discard down to 8 cards at the end of your turn. Strength types play out rock, paper, scissors style. Monster modifiers add strength to monsters in all sorts of wacky ways. Action cards can be played at any time. Yada yada, you already know how to play. It's that simple. But how does this game compare to others? Is it yet another take that luckfest? Or does it defy the odds? To answer these questions, we're going to need to compare it to its closest counterpart, Munchkin. I have fond memories of Munchkin. It felt awesome getting geared up and destroying monsters. It didn't last though, perhaps because my young brain subconsciously realized Munchkin is a total luckfest. You don't get to choose whether you fight a monster or get gear. They're in the same deck. The gear is restrictive and the balance is bad. It was about time someone made a better Munchkin, and Circletons delivers. Fool's Blade has all the power curve and monster slaying you could want, without all the restrictions and random encounters. Hey, what about the random curses and random bad cards? Not to mention the random monster strength, huh? Sounds like a luckfest to me. Now here is how Fool's Blade mitigates that, you see? There are a decent amount of cards that let you discard cards for benefits, turning your bad cards into useful ones. Class cards with abilities that activate when you discard cards are even better for ensuring you have good options each turn. Action cards are great at giving you that extra failsafe when going monster hunting. The monster difficulty choice makes you not feel as bad when you lose because after all, you did choose 3 skulls. There are so many cards for so many situations. Some cards are good for one game and not the next. Yeah, well, this game sure does have a lot of take that, huh? Tavern cards, quest cards, and even forge cards can mess people up in big ways, especially if the monster lose condition is bad. Did you see that tactical retreat? Outright diabolical. Indeed, this game can get pretty mean. Some class cards and tavern cards can make people practically lose a turn. There is random discarding, stealing, and breaking. I think the game is as mean as you make it though. It depends on what class cards are picked. Some are all about messing with other players. Some have more peaceful alternatives. Instead of using those random mean tavern cards that might hinder your opponent, you could instead guarantee a good gear card in the quest trash pile. So mean cards don't always have to be played, but if you do, use them against the winning player to even the playing field. Speaking of evening the playing field, let's round out this review with some criticism. This game was funded on Kickstarter, and like many card-in board games, there are some Kickstarter exclusives. One of these are the bosses which appear randomly in the monster deck. Everyone has to stop what they're doing and fight the boss together. Either everyone wins or everyone loses. Now this sucks because it cheats whoever drew the approach card out of slaying and makes multiple people lose turns based on how many players or successful attacks there are. Not to mention the extra whole 2 pages this adds to the rulebook. This was not in the complexity budget. It slows down the game. Now I know this was an expansion, so you don't have to use it, but it still breaks the flow of the game. You know what else slows down games? Confusingly worded cards and rules, and there are a bunch here. Let's keep in mind though, this is Circle's first card game, so it's understandable, but this has to get fixed. It is never mentioned when curse timers go down. You have to go to the online FAQ for that. The Skull Monster modifier does not specify which deck the extra monster comes from. And finally, nowhere in the FAQs is it answered how tavern cards are resolved when one contradicts the other. Now on to the confusing and misworded cards. The Village Menace is a bit confusing because it ran out of room to say, then go to the other chosen destination. Captain's Cutlass Handle would be less confusing if it specified cards in hand. The Vial of Super Corrosive Acid and Boots of Hasty Retreat don't specify if they refer to base strength or not. They should be base strength. Meat and Potatoes seems like it should say "and" here. And Futuristic Armor should say broken by other players instead of destroyed. And here are a few cards not as exciting as others. OP cards are fine in this kind of game, but the less useful ones are the greatest offenders. Which brings us to house rules. Some card rules could be tweaked a bit for an overall better experience. I'm going to go quick here, feel free to pause. First of all, remove these 2 cards from the game. One is awkward, and the other is way too punishing. Give an option to put the revealed Forge cards in the bottom of the Forge deck. Crash Landed Space Marine now gives you +10 strength instead of +3. Rude Dude can now discard any 3 cards. Fisherman can now discard any 3 cards as well. Witch Hunter now gains +2 power instead of +1. Blacksmith now has the option to draw from the Forged Trash Pile instead, along with his previous ability. I'm Feeling Bold now works anytime you would draw a curse. Spaghetti Dinner Guard ability now costs only 1 card. Futuristic Armor now also protects you from stealing. And finally, Highwayman's Gloves now increases in strength for every additional loot card instead of every 2 additional loot cards. Despite the flaws, I had a lot of fun. Fool's Blade got me laughing at the stupid stuff I could pull off, such as going monster hunting 4 times, drawing 6 quest cards, and even cheating death. All the locations really lends itself to a more thematic experience, with self-chosen risk every turn. Like I said earlier, this is exactly the game I was looking for. A light party game with some strategy, so if you play well, you will win most of the time. I'm thankful this game is actually good. I didn't want to have to roast Circle Tunes. And thank you, Circle, if you're watching this, for shining a light on card and board games for many fans who may not be familiar. Do you like bonus content? Link in the description for my fan expansion. I'm calling it Blink Tavern. Whoa, I can't believe it! I drew the subscribe action card! It's so OP! It's crazy how much love Circle has put into this game. He has like a how to play, an animated trailer. It's like, I never seen this much for like a card game before. And did I mention, yep, art is great. Custom art on like every card. Some doubles of cards, of course, but like every loot card is different. The box is good, except it can't fit on a regular shelf, but that's fine, it still looks epic. I'm like recording this at like late at night, trying to get this done before like I have to go to my dorm at college. But thanks for watching.